Now that we have our levels set up, our spawner working, and the object pool working as well, it's time for us to create a player for our game. To do this, we're going to set up the animation for our player first. Let's go into our artwork folder and go to our sprite sheets and select the person. Here, we can unfold the texture and see all the sprites that we cut out from the sprite sheet. Let's drag sprites 2 through 8 onto the scene. Once we do this, Unity is going to want us to create a new animation for all of these sprites. In this case, let's call this Player Run Animation. And we're going to open this up and create a new folder now for all of our animation. Then let's save the Player Run Animation into the Animations folder. Now, if we run our game, we'll see that our player has his run animation in place. Next, we'll want to clean this up. Let's rename this to Player. And next, we're going to want to add the physics objects we need to make this work. We'll start with the Box Collider 2D. Now, as you can see, the Box Collider is going to be a little bit too large around our player. That's because we have a lot of empty space in the sprite itself. So the Box Collider automatically resizes itself to the size of the sprite, not the visible pixels inside of it. We can fix this by changing the size X to 16 and the Y value to 30. Next, we'll want to add a rigid body 2D. Now, let's change the gravity scale to 60. We're going to make him fixed angled, and we're going to set him to interpolate. Now let's save our changes to the scene, and we're going to zoom out, and we're going to move him up a little bit so that he's just off the screen. Let's run our game and see how this looks. You'll see he's going to fall straight through the floor. Now let's take a look at why that's happening. We'll select the quad that represents our foreground. Now the one thing that we're missing here is an actual collider. So let's go into our components and add a Box Collider 2D. Now when we rerun the game, you'll see that he stays on the ground and the other objects push him off of the screen. Let's rerun this, but before we hit play, we'll pause it, start the game, and let's select our spawner and disable it for right now. As we run our game, you'll now see that the player is cleanly resting on the floor. If we activate our spawner and pause the game, you'll also notice as we zoom in here to our scene that the objects are neatly sitting on the floor as well. Next, we'll want to determine when the player is actually standing so that we can start adding in the other logic, such as jumping, to be able to avoid these objects.